power to capture, extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifesting. The gods work like appliances, dealing in my psyche.
Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another discussion for Boruto Naruto Next Generations, the anime. And for anime only fans, don't worry, this video is safe to actually check out. Manga readers, I'll probably make a second video later today talking about the manga, because we're in dangerous territory now to where the manga chapters come out. I've talked about the anime more than I've talked about the manga this week. So with that being said though, I want to talk about some of the growing concerns that I've seen in the comment section when people saying like, oh my god, we're gonna be in a situation where they've changed a key element from the manga. And I'm gonna say, I think that while it is possible, I don't think there's going to be a major change. I'm gonna chalk this up much to the same way that in the Naruto and Sasuke versus Jigen battle, Kashin Koji sneaked in a toad summoning. I don't really count that as a big change, because in the manga, Kashin Koji didn't know that Naruto and Sasuke lost to Jigen. However, when you look at the manga panel, he very strongly suspects that Jigen defeated both of them. However, the big change that a lot of people are actually looking at is this possibility that we're looking at Sarada Uchiha not having the 3 Tomoe Sharingan when Sarada's Big Battle comes up in the anime. And I'm gonna say, part of me understands why people are a little worried of that. People are worried that, well, if they're gonna change that, then it's not gonna have the same payoff, and she needs it in order to perform the Chidori. And number one, people are misremembering the Chidori. Number one, you don't need a 3 Tomoe in order to use the Chidori. That's the first thing that a lot of people are forgetting. Sasuke was using it against Gar a couple of times, and Sasuke only had a 2 Tomoe, so you can do that. Now, when it comes to Sarada, there are 2 routes that could go on this. Number one, you could kind of go the dramatic reveal of, instead of like in the manga where the 3 Tomoe is just revealed right then and there on the spot, you could kind of pay homage to what they did in the Sasuke retrieval arc, where Sasuke, due to the situation he was in, his body forcibly evolved and awakened that 3 Tomoe Sharingan in order to start predicting Naruto's movements. You could kind of go that route and just kind of have it where Sarada, when Sarada and Team 7 are fighting against the person that they're fighting, because she needs to break down his jutsu, and because the anime might have him weaving hand signs a little too fast, or because of how the guy's jutsu works, her Sharingan evolves to that 3rd state. That could be a way that you actually tweak it right there. And if that's the case, I'm not gonna be super mad over that. Again, like, that's your director taking liberties with it. Getting mad over that is the equivalent of getting mad over the fact that Jiraiya's ghost touched Naruto's soul, and we had this whole moment where Naruto stopped and it showed the connection between master and student, because Naruto felt Jiraiya touch his arm, and Naruto standing on the tree branch and looking very sad, and in that moment Naruto knew that Jiraiya died. Like, I've seen people use that moment of filler, and because a lot of people watched Naruto Shippuden and didn't actually know that that scene was filler, turn around and attack me and Adil from Anime Balls Deep a few years ago when we did a video centered around certain characters that are in the Boruto manga that have popped up in the anime. People said, well, that can't be the case because look at this scene here, and use other moments of filler, when the whole purpose of us even drawing the conclusions that we did was based on the actual manga, not the actual anime. So I say that to say, anime original content, when done correctly, can be done in a way to where if you don't know any better, which you have a lot of people that are anime only, so you're gonna have people that only watch the anime that are not gonna know that Sarada went into the fight that she's getting ready to have already having a 3 Tomoe Sharingan, much in the same way that you guys did not know that Sarada had a 3 Tomoe Sharingan, because in the manga Sarada never used Sharingan after the Momoshiki arc until this fight that's coming up here, which is why I had to explain 2 years ago that, like, yo, Sarada awakens Sharingan in one of the like novels. It just happened to show up in that novel that she had 3 Tomoe, so even then it happened completely off screen. But I still had to break that down because people are confused. You're gonna have the same thing with the anime only viewers. At least this way, if they go this route, you at least have some explanation for the anime only viewers. This ain't gonna be any different than when you had Naruto's anime referencing filler arcs like the Land of Tea, and you had the Naruto Shippuden anime referencing filler arcs and mixing it into the manga adaptations. A lot of you guys didn't read the manga, didn't know what the hell you were actually looking at. You didn't know it was filler until you got on the internet and somebody pointed it out to you. So I think you're in the same situation here. As long as it's done in a way that it runs together smoothly, I don't think there should be any issue. Again, Naruto is a franchise, especially in the anime. As a anime franchise, it's always made small changes like incorporating small story elements from filler and mixing it into the actual manga adaptation, or doing entire anime original scenes that weren't in the actual manga to pad out some of the stuff that happens in the anime, even changes some of the actual context and scenes in the anime to big changes like you see how in the anime portrayal Sakura's a raging bitch that's hitting Naruto every 2 seconds because they're running the Suken bolt gag into the ground in the anime. In the manga, it doesn't happen nearly as much. Just about all of the Suken bolt humor between Naruto and Sakura in the manga takes place in part 1. Once Naruto matured and grew up in part 2, she doesn't really knock this dude out except for a couple of occasions in part 2. So I say that to say, as long as it flows together smoothly, I think that this is a good opportunity because Boruto's manga is a very vague manga. It's not detailed like Naruto, to where every small detail in every single scene is presented to you, and if you're somebody that's working on the anime, there's not a lot of room for you to try and insert stuff. However, Kishimoto would build in room for filler to actually be added to the actual story. And the reason why I say that is Boruto's manga is more so of a snapshot type of a manga. You get the bare bones. Like if you compare it as a writing style, Kishimoto would do more of a word for word script, whereas the way that Ikimoto draws the manga is more of bullet points. It's bullet points for the actual scenes. And some of that comes down to Ukyo Kodachi because of how Kodachi tends to write. He's not as detailed of a writer as Masashi Kishimoto. So yeah, that's part of your problem right there. We're still adapting the part of the story that Ukyo Kodachi wrote. Masashi Kishimoto, since he's taken over the manga has lived in the moment more. The manga has fleshed out scenes a little bit more. So you're in that same type of a funky space right there, to where Boruto's manga is still a snapshot manga. So whoever adapts the anime, they're not going to have the luxury of what they did when they adapted the Naruto manga into an anime, because again, it's not as detailed. Some of that's the writing. The other part, a large part of it, is the actual mangaka and how the mangaka panels things on the actual manga. So as long as you have an opportunity to build on the very vague nature of the manga, I think that everything should be in bounds. I don't think that we should be getting super upset over it. Now, I'll be the first one to say, if they go the cliche route of Sarada awakened to 3 Tomoe Sharingan midway in the battle against Boro, I'll be the first one to say I'm not a huge fan of that. I personally like what they had in the manga, but that's just me though. But I'm okay enough to say like, yo, I'm not a fan of this, but if it's done right, I can sit there and give props are due. If it's done horribly, I'll call it out in the review and I'll explain why I didn't actually like it. You know, honest to God right now, like I really feel like the only reason why we're having these conversations and nitpicking over small things that have been changed in the anime adaptation, whether it be the Kashin Koji sent a toad into the dimension and watch Naruto and Sasuke get their asses whooped, it doesn't change the fact that in the manga, Koji was like, yo, they're probably gonna lose. Even if Sasuke shows up, yeah, chances are they still lost. It doesn't change that thought process for the characters. So I didn't get upset over Koji sending the toad summoning there. It's the same thing here. I'm not gonna get upset if they add this change in with the character of Sarada. I feel like the only reason we're having these conversations is in 2021, you have people that just want to take a donkey shit over the Boruto anime because that's just been the trendy thing to do for the last 2 years. I've said it numerous times before. I dropped the anime for like 2.5 years. I dropped the anime after episode 4 and I didn't pick it back up until the Mitsuki desertion arc because I was actually halfway interested in that arc, and even then I still waited until we got into like episode 114 or 15 to start binge watching the actual anime and get caught up on the anime. So I understand people not liking the anime and everything. The only thing I'll say is that before it was, well, you know, now we have all this filler and we're gonna shit on the anime. Hey, I was all for you on that. I wasn't one of the people that liked the slice of life episodes, and I wasn't one of the ones that really enjoyed the first 100 or so episodes of the anime. But now that we've gotten to a part where the anime is adapting the manga, and the anime in 2020 was mostly manga. The anime was on hiatus, but when it did anime original content, it directly tied into the manga. And now 2021 has been 95% manga adaptation. Your argument of, well, Boruto's just filler, you don't have that argument anymore. And so I think the next thing to transition over to is just to take a donkey shit on it because of small changes. And I find that hilarious because as somebody that did not like the Naruto anime and did not like the Naruto Shippuden anime because of the changes that were made, I'm sitting there saying like these small changes that they've made in the anime are nowhere near as annoying as what you had in Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. Some of that's just my personal opinion because when those anime were running, I was more of a manga purist, so you made any small change, I got highly annoyed. I'm now a lot older than I was when Naruto and Naruto Shippuden were running. I mean, it's been well over 16 years since the first English dub episode of Naruto even came out. By that point, I was already reading the manga, and so when I got to watching the anime, it's like, okay, this is starting off kind of cool, and then once I started seeing the filler and some of the extra stuff that's added, I got turned off with the anime. But some of that just comes down to, again, back then I was more of a manga purist, and the other part of it is because I've gotten older. Again, it's been 16 years. Maybe I'm just a little bit more lenient now. I am a lot more patient than I was when Naruto's anime first came out in the English dub. That should have been like 2004 or 2005. So I said to say like, yo, like if it's done halfway decently, I say don't get super pissed off over it. Like if it's done bad, then yeah, raise hell. If it's halfway decent, just roll with it. You gotta remember, we're just a small bubble. You have a lot of anime only fans that don't know any better. However, I want to know from you guys, what do you guys think about this? Do you think that people right now are just reaching for a reason to take a shit on the anime, or do you think you're in a situation where the complaints are justified? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching, and have an awesome day, guys.